Howdy folks, this is BelGeode. We're in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and this is a test, otherwise known as a chill vid. The usual pop-ups should be popping up right now below. And yes, part of the reason why this is still a test is because we're still trying to get the G2 right where I want it for recording purposes. It seems to work fine if I'm not recording, but adding recording to the equation does tend to change things. So I'm still tweaking the image stability and all of that good jazz just to make sure we've got just the right balance of quality and performance that will also not leave you, the viewer, having motion sickness. So, this bird. Yeah. Huge shout out and thank you to IniBuilds, in particular Ellie at IniBuilds, for sending me the preview copy of their brand spanking new P-40 Foxtrot model. This is the Curtiss P-40 Warhawk, made famous during World War II. It flew with the Flying Tigers in China, and it flew pretty much all over the Pacific and all over Europe. Helped out with the Battle of Britain too, if I'm not too mistaken. This one I believe has a Merlin engine. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, I'll have the little pop-up below to correct myself. But yeah, suffice to say, this is awesome. Now, I know what you're probably thinking if you've been following this channel for any length of time. Well, Bell, we already have a P-40. Yeah, you do. You do. Big Radials P-40 Bravo model. And don't get me wrong, I am not taking away from that version at all. It is awesome. But I want to tell you folks, if you're a P-40 fan like me, you're going to want to get this one as well, because the F model has some significant upgrades, most notably the engine from the Bravo model. But suffice to say, they're both stunning birds, and as you can see, as far as the textures on this bird, it is nothing short of immaculate. And this bird does have a long history. It's had a lot of, shall we say, birthing pains bringing it to life, but it's finally here, and it's here in Microsoft Flight Simulator in a big way. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the various details that you can find with this bird. We're going to fly it. We're going to start it up as we always do. We're going to check out all the external cameras, and we're going to go for a quick flight around the South Pacific here. We are close to Rabaul. I forget which island we're on. It's either New Caledonia or New Britain or New something or other. And we're going to be landing at, I don't even remember the name of the place, Kunaye or something like that. I'm sure it'll pop up on the ATC pop-up later. But yeah, just a quick, easy flight, pretty straightforward stuff. There's no autopilot in this, so we're going to have to hand fly it the whole way. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of what we're getting ourselves into. All right, let's check out the external cameras. So, we have the standard camera here. This is your typical behind the aircraft view, and I really love the positioning of this. It's just in front of the tail, but also just under the little aerial here, which is kind of cool. This is the perfect spot to have a camera like this. The only other thing would be directly behind the aircraft, but obviously in a tail dragger, that could become a problem when you're on the ground, so this is fine. Then we've got the infamous BelGeode landing cam, as I like to call it. That's really the only name I can come up with for it, but this is perfect. Thank you so much for putting this in here. Every aircraft should have some kind of landing camera in there. It's just awesome, especially when you're on approach and you want to make sure you're at your glide slope, which typically I'm not. And then we've got a port side view, so you can really check out the textures here. Look at that. Now, full disclosure, I actually turned my textures down to high. I originally had them at ultra. They've been at ultra this entire time, but I turned it down to high because I wanted to prove a point. Even on high, these textures still look incredible. All the little paint chips and everything, it's just awesome. Trixie, you're an awesome looking plane, I've got to say. You really are. And then, of course, we've also got the starboard side cam. So there you go. You got your little position light there. If there is a minor complaint that I have, I don't like the way these lights look. They don't look like they actually emit light. They look like painted bubbles to me. But as you'll see, once we get the engines on, on and turn on the nav light, you will notice that the light does in fact come on. But that's just a minor complaint. I think it could be a little bit more light-like. I guess that's a word now. All right, let's check our controls while we're at it. So ailerons. Aileron seems to be doing aileron-y goodness. Elevator. Looking nice, looking nice. Got the trim tabs there in the back. And of course, rudder. Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I love it. All right, we're going to put it back to the BelGeode landing cam because that's what we're going to use when we're taxiing. It's either that or I've got to do a lot of S-turns, and that's going to result in the video doing this a lot. And I'm not sure how many of you have signed on for that. All right, let's hop in the cockpit. Okay, so this is where I need to move around in my seat so I can show you the cockpit. We'll start from the right and we'll go all the way around. So we got our little map case there. We've got like our radio controls and all of that miscellaneous stuff. Green lever at the bottom, the sideways one, the horizontal one, that's for your cowl flaps. In that position, the cowl flaps are open. The up position, the cowl flaps are closed. And we got our hydraulic pump right there. We got our window or canopy controls there. We'll be using that. We also have circuit breakers. None of them are modeled, but if you notice, the placard says circuit breakers on for all operations. So really, do we need to have them modeled? Probably not. They're all going to be on anyway, so I'm not going to worry about that. Gauges all look crisp and clear. Not sure how that's coming out in the resulting video because of the technique that I'm using to actually record it. It may look a little bit blurrier on your screen, but I can confirm in the cockpit, in VR, everything is very much readable, and I know that is a major concern for VR users. You may also notice a little EFB here. Now, EFBs tend to be a bone of contention with a lot of flight simmers. Some people love it, some people hate it. Let's say you are in a category that you hate it. Well, you can get rid of it. You see this little knob down here that says EFB gun sight? Let's flip it. There you go. No more EFB. You don't ever have to worry about it again. Me, I like it. I'm going to keep it on. I'm going to briefly go through everything that it comes with because I've also linked in the video description below IniBuilds' own introduction video that goes through each of these in detail. So, we got a map. Pretty straightforward stuff, exactly what you would expect. It is the VFR map. We're going to be using that throughout the flight. We've got maintenance. This thing does have persistence. They call it persistence light. You can repair and replace, but you'll notice as you use the aircraft, things will wear down a little bit, and you're going to want to take care of that. All these little things on the left side that say toggle, that's for like the engine covers and the gun bays and stuff like that if you decide you want to play around with that. I will not for this video. Weather. Now this is kind of cool. You can enter in any ICAO and it will tell you what the METAR is. I completely forgot what the ICAO code is for this airport. No doubt you will have already seen it because I'll have the little pop-up showing up on the right-hand side. But, yeah, I have no idea where we are. Timer. Another useful little thing, especially if you're in pattern work and stuff like that. You can start your timer. You can set like a countdown timer and so on and so forth. It's good stuff. It's all common sense stuff that you would expect to find in this. And then finally we have settings. Pretty straightforward. You can set it up for military or civilian. Now remember, if you get this bird in the Microsoft InSim marketplace, it will not have guns or anything like that. If you get it from IniBuilds, it will, or any other distributor that they decide to use. All right. For the time being, we'll just leave it on the master page here, and then we'll go ahead and get everything started. There is a checklist, and you can use the InSim checklist, and it will help you out. I'm going to leave everything as is. Typically, you would turn your mixture off, and you would turn your prop pitch down, but we're not going to do any of that. Instead, I'm going to get our fuel cock. We'll set that to rear wing, so that's front, that's rear. This is our fuel gauge over here. And we'll go ahead and get the batteries on. And we'll get our fuel pump on. And we'll get our throttle open 1/2 inch. So right about there should be good. And we can primer for about 2 seconds. That should be enough. There we go. All right, we'll keep the fuel pump on. We'll get our nav lights on. So there we go. Nav lights should now be on. Radio will keep off. Fuel gauge lights. I don't really know what those do, to be honest with you. It says front tank and rear tank. Really don't know what it does, but I would assume it helps to operate this thing, although it was in the off position and it was still showing me that there was fuel. I'll have to read the manual. It does come with a manual. You should see that pop up right now. Okay. We're pretty much ready for an engine start, but before I do that, I think I still have Kara as my active co-pilot. So there is no active co-pilot in here, so you're probably going to want to turn that off. There we go. So that way it is your aircraft. You're in charge. Alright, how about we start her up, folks, and that way you can listen to the lovely audio that this thing has. Let's make sure our parking brakes are on. Parking brakes are off. Parking brakes on. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So, here is our engine start switch, conveniently guarded to prevent accidental hitting it. And we're going to get our magnetos to both. Left, right, both, and start. Clear. Oh, nice and easy. I love a start like that. You can guard the switch again. Make sure our RPM is around 1,000, and you'll notice it is getting a little bit loud. We will close the canopy after we take off, but for right now, we're going to leave it exactly the way it is. Alright. I'm thinking everything looks good here. I'm just making a cursory scan of everything. We got our trimmers over here. To be honest with you, I don't remember what the rudder and elevator trim should be set to on takeoff. I want to say it's not much, because she seems to take off just fine, and I don't have any assistances or anything on, and it really doesn't say in this little placard here. So we're just going to leave everything as is. No flaps for this takeoff, by the way. I'm going to do it without flaps. We should have enough runway, but we'll see how well that works. I'm going to trim us up a little though. There we go, just a little. So like 1 revolution of the knob. Alright, let's contact, well, there is no tower, but we'll contact Unicom. Oh, how could I forget? My radios are off. Well, it's a good thing it reminded me, because guess what? Here's our master radio switch right here. Let's try that again. There you go. Okay, AYSE. That is our ICAO code. Alright. We can announce taxi. Let's see where it's sending us.
Alpha Yankee Sierra Echo Traffic Warhawk 70 is taxiing to runway 28.
Runway 28. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Alright. So, what was the ICAO code again? Alpha Yankee Sierra Echo. So just to prove a point here, I want to go weather. We're going to see if we have this in the system here. Look at, we even have a keyboard, so we can go Alpha, Yankee, Sierra, Echo. Are you in the database, maybe, possibly? No METAR available. Okay. Well, it was worth a shot, right? But here's our map. This is where we are. We're going to zoom it out. Mouse scroll wheel does not work on this map. You got to do it the old-fashioned way by clicking the button. And of course you can center on your aircraft, which we should already be. You can see we are at Simbe. I guess that's the name of this airport. Really should do my homework before I start this stuff. I just picked 2 places that I wanted to fly from and to, and that's pretty much how we're doing this video here. So you can see where we're going to the southeast, which is AYKY, and I will remember the name once we actually contact them. My plan is to fly over these little islands here and then just follow the water, the channel there. So we'll zoom it in 1 notch. Yeah, maybe 2. Maybe 2. Alright, well, we're pretty much ready to taxi. We are facing northeast right now, so we're going to need to go to that end of the runway in order to line ourselves up for takeoff. Not my ideal takeoff direction because there's trees on the opposite side, but we'll see if we can do it. Alright, parking brakes off. And we are moving slightly, so I'm going to give her just a touch of throttle and a lot of left pedal. See, we got a couple of Cessnas here. When I did my first test, I noticed that they put a bunch of World War II era and World War I era aircraft that I happen to have in my community folder. Now they've opted for Cessnas, so that's a little disappointing. But I'm not going to complain too much. As we can see, it's a beautiful day here in the South Pacific. And we are going to head over to this side. Now, as far as performance goes with the sim itself, I have noticed, number one, we did have a brief update. We've actually had 2 smaller updates. But as a result of both of those updates, my performance has dropped a little bit. And that seems to be one of those weird quirks with Microsoft Flight Simulator, is any given update could either benefit you or hinder you. It could go either way. It really could. Alright, I'm just like pumping the brakes here. Trying to make sure that we don't go off the edge. We really should be doing S-turns, and if you want, I will. See, there's the end of our runway here. So we're going to swing out to the right. And we're going to turn around. I like the distortion there because of all the exhaust. That's kind of cool. And we're going to turn around here. Get some of that differential braking going. Ooh, that was a little sharp. Not gonna lie, that was a little sharp. We'll go to the BelGeode landing cam to straighten ourselves out. Okay, so let's get everything ready for takeoff. I will want my landing gear or my landing lights on. I will also want my pitot heat on. We should probably close a canopy, so let's go ahead and do that now. Beautiful. I can't speak highly enough about these textures. You can see the grooves in the canopy where it's been scratched up. Something obviously hit it hard enough to kind of dent the metal there. That's so cool. That's so cool. I love when developers do stuff like this. This is attention to detail here. Alright, but we're pretty much set to go, and I think I remember to trim. Yes. Okay. You know what it's time for, folks. Brakes down, throttles up, and once we actually get to takeoff speed, I'll go to the BelGeode landing cam and get the gear up, and we'll take a look at that. So, parking brakes off, holding down the brakes, bringing the manifold pressure up, no more than about 50 inches on manifold pressure. RPM, we can go over 30 for a little bit, but afterwards we're going to want to bring it back down. Alright, there goes nothing. Brakes off. Throttle is up. And now we start to do the rudder tango. Oh yeah, this is going to get interesting. Very light turns on the rudder. Very easy turns on the rudder. Do not go crazy with it. Alright, we should be airborne now. Let's go to the BelGeode landing cam. Alright, that was cool. That was a nice takeoff. Okay, so now we can start pulling our prop pitch back a little bit. We're at 2700 RPM, which is actually fine. We're going to pull it back down to about 2,500 RPM, and we'll keep it there for the majority of the flight, unless, of course, we have to do a lot of shenanigans, which we might. We might. And you'll notice our manifold pressure is right around 46 inches, so we're pretty good there. We really should have it in the green, but we'll put it there once we get to our cruise altitude. For now, of course, we're just heading runway heading until we get away from the island. But there you go. Got a nice look at the island there. That looks pretty cool. I had someone on Facebook ask if everything is blurry when you look to the side in VR. It is not. It is not. I forget who it was that asked, but here's your proof right here. If you're watching this video, you can see everything looks pretty sharp, pretty crystal clear while I'm looking to the right. Now, with that having been said, we have been having some stuttery issues lately with Microsoft Flight Simulator. I want to assure everyone it's not the VR, it's not the bird, and it's not the location that we're in. It is something to do with the sim, and I think the way that it's caching things online, so what we're getting from the server, there's some issues. And it may result in a slightly stuttery video as a result. So if that is the case, I'm going to apologize in advance. I may need to do some light editing. I know that typically with these chill vids, I don't do any kind of editing at all. But that's going to depend on just how well Microsoft Flight Simulator decides to behave today. I'm hoping it will. Let's check out our airport. There it is. You can see it back there. Pretty cool stuff, huh? Really, really neat. Alright, one thing I neglected to show you here on this little EFB is the actual radio. So, let's go to home. And you'll see where it says radio. So that's our actual radio station. And of course, if we use the ATC, it's going to change that. So ATC up, we want Port Moresby on 118.1. And we're going to tell them we want flight following.
Port Moresby Center, Warhawk 70, is type 7 miles west of Alpha Yankee, Sierra Echo, 3,800 feet. Request flight following.
Okay, 7526.
Squawk 7526, Warhawk 70.
We're going to trim ourselves down a little here.
Warhawk 70, radar contact, 6 miles west of Alpha Yankee, Sierra Echo, 4,200 feet. Altimeter, 29.68.
Roger, Warhawk 70.
So there you go, and you can see it changed our radio station for us. And as far as the transponder, I believe if we click on this, you can see it's the exact same transponder code that they told us to squawk. So we can make sure that we are on out, and we'll put it back to the map. So yeah, as far as ease of use goes, this plane has it in spades. She flies very well. She's got the little mod cons, or you have the option of turning off the mod cons if you decide you don't want modern conveniences in your World War II bird. Me, I could go either way. I mean, I'm not in War Thunder here. I'm not trying to, down a bunch of enemy planes. So yeah, we'll keep it in. We'll keep it in. Alright, now we are getting a little bit of stutters, so I'm going to go to the outside view for a moment here, and we're just going to kind of fly around the area. We're going to try and see if we can stay between 5,000 and 6,000, so I'm going to trim us down a little bit more. There we go. And she should behave herself, so we're going to go to the outside view really quick and check out these islands to our right. Alright, hope you enjoyed that. That will also give us our little title shot here. So, as you can see, trimming her up is a little bit interesting. And I'm trying to trim her down, but of course when that happens, we start porpoising a little bit. Remember, there's no autopilot on this, or at least I haven't found any. So my guess is there is no autopilot on it, as it probably would be in real life. But with that having been said, I think she is relatively under control. You can see we're still within 5,000 and 6,000 feet, so that's kind of my target range. So I'm just doing gentle inputs on the stick here to kind of have her behave. And I've pulled our throttle back a little bit, so you can see our manifold pressure is right around 35. And our RPM's a little bit lower now. It's at 2,400, so I can raise that back up to about 2,500, and we'll just leave it there. Now, how are we doing on gas? We're still running on that rear wing tank, and it looks like we have a fair amount of gas. I'm assuming that it's currently telling us what's in the rear tank. Could be wrong, but I remember putting about 90% fuel in there, so hopefully we should be okay. A little too much prop pitch. I'm pulling it back a little. There we go. 2,500 is what I'm looking for. Keep the throttle to where we have 35 inches, manifold pressure. And yeah, I'm feeling good about this. I really am. Alright, so it's going to take us a few minutes to get to our island. I'm going to try and see if I can do some shenanigans when we get to the island. So probably try to pull off a loop-the-loop. Maybe another aileron roll like we did in the outside view there. I'm not going to get too crazy with it. But I have seen on IniBuilds video that you can pull off a hammerhead with this thing, and also realize that they're using the new modeling system, so like a prop modeling system and all of that. It's all in there. They're using everything on modern. Do not put this on legacy flight model, ever. But yeah, we can start to see our little island coming up here. That's where we're landing. And let me see if I can figure out what the name of this airport is. We'll just open this up and go nearest airport list. Punaye, that's the name. That's how I'm pronouncing it, Punaye. And apparently Simberi is where we took off from. So I'm going to keep that up because while I'm in the post-editing phase of this video, I may want to reference those names so that I can put them on the little pop-ups below. But yeah, that's where we're going. Alright, we're going to close that out. And as we still have a little bit of time to get to the island, what I will do is go back to the outside view. And we'll just kind of chill here. I'm going to trim us up just a touch here so our nose isn't dipping too much. We're at 4,500 feet right now, which is not where I want to be. No doubt you caught that I left the landing lights on, so that's why I had to go to the BelGeode landing cam to go bring them in. Of course, watch. As soon as we come in for a landing, I'll forget to put them back on. Never fails. Never fails. Alright, so here is our island. I can't guarantee that we won't end up in stutters, but I do want to try some kind of shenanigans here, so we're going to try it from the outside view. I've noticed we do tend to get less stutters in this version of the sim in the outside view, but again, no guarantees. No guarantees. We're going to leave our RPMs as is, so that way we're not overstressing the engine. Our airport, incidentally, is off that end of the island. You can see the light, what would that be, white or beige? That's where our airport is. So we're going to be contacting them in a moment, but first, let's go outdoors and do some funky stuff. Okay, so I think we're done with the shenanigans. Let's set ourselves up on a course for the airport, and we'll also contact the airport and make them aware that we're coming in. So Kunaye, traffic, and I'm fairly certain we are going to want runway 30, full stop landing, and position.
Alpha Yankee Kilo Yankee, traffic Warhawk, 70 3 miles southwest, 1,100 feet, inbound to land runway 30.
And there's the stutters again. I'm going to quickly go to the outside and see if it resolves it. Okay, yeah, we are definitely getting a little bit of stutters here and there, which is exactly what I was afraid of. But then, like I said, that is the sim. The sim has been misbehaving, because if you caught the Alaska video, it happened in some places, but it didn't happen throughout the entire video, which is kind of weird. It's Microsoft being Microsoft. I have no idea. Alright, but we are going to pull the power back, and we'll get our prop pitch back up. I want full prop pitch for this. And we'll start coming down. I'm wondering if it has something to do with the radio too, because you notice it didn't start until I actually announced that we were coming in. Speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and announce that we're on downwind, and we'll see if it does the same thing. So, announce downwind leg.
Alpha Yankee Kilo Yankee traffic Warhawk 70 is on downwind runway tree 0.
Okay, now it seems to be behaving itself. But if I look off to this side, there's our airport over there, and we're awfully low. Yep, and sure enough, we're having stutters again. Okay. So it's something about this direction. Let's go to the outside view and put the gear down while we're at it. Alright, we are looking good. Now comes the stuttery part, so apologies in advance. I'm going to try and keep my head steady. Maybe that'll help mitigate it while I'm coming around this turn here. Really should have zoomed in the map a bit. Oh, before I forget, landing lights. Landing lights are coming out. There's our airport, so we're on base leg right now. So far, so good. Wait, hold on. Why is there a beacon light at the end of the runway? I sincerely hope that's not in my way. Asobo. What's going on here? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's bad enough I gotta land with stutters here. Sheesh. See, this is why this is a test video, folks. Whatever happens, happens. I'm not promising that it is going to be perfect, and by no means do I expect it to detract from the aircraft. Quick outside view so that I can put up the name of the airport. Yeah, sure enough, those suckers put the beacon right at the end of the runway. This is going to make for an interesting approach. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Holy crap. Worst place for a beacon ever. Wait, is that an F-16? Why is there an F-16 here? You know what? I'm not even going to worry about it. Let's go ahead and touch down. Throttles idle. And that was a little bouncy. Yeah, that is most certainly an F-16, by the way. Alright, light on the rudder. Pull back a little. And we're about to run out of runway, aren't we? Yep, we sure are. Oh boy. That's a bit of a runway overrun there, but I'm just going to blame our friend the beacon light for that. It's a World War II bird. We can handle grass. We're good. Not my best landing, folks, but yeah, we're still alive. We're still alive, and there's still tread on the tires, so we're good there. Let me open up the canopy here. Whew! Alright, so welcome to Kunaye. And we'll go to the outside view as we taxi in. Not gonna lie, folks, I have no idea why there would be an F-16 here, but it certainly does look good. So shout out to Dean and SC Designs, DC and SC Designs, both of y'all. It looks good, even in the South Pacific. Gotta love it. Alright, we're gonna find a nice parking spot here. I'm not gonna get really technical about it because this is such a small airport. There's not very many options. We're gonna park it right about here. Parking brakes on. Okay. So there you have it, folks. The IniBuilds P-40 Foxtrot, or F model. This is a superb plane. Well designed, handling is great, performance is great. Really can't find too much to complain about with it. Like I said, the only thing that I could really call attention to is the nav lights. But other than that, I enjoy this plane. I really do. Would I say that it replaces the Big Radials? Heck no. Heck no. If you're a Warbird fan like I am, get both. Get their Bravo model and get this Foxtrot model. Fly the two of them. Find the differences between the two of them. They both perform well. They both are high quality, and they're both pretty flippin' awesome. So yes, definitely 2 thumbs up from me. Alright, let's go ahead and kill the engine here, which means, of course, Microsoft Flight Simulator is going to do that thing that I hate. Let's prop pitches down. You know what, let me get the radio. No, we'll leave the radio on because I think that's what's causing it. So we'll go ahead and turn off landing lights. Turn that off. Pitot heat, we'll go ahead and turn you off as well. Provided I can hit you. There you go. And we'll get the mixture off. And the fuel pump. That's a beautiful thing, folks. That is a beautiful thing. Mags are off. We'll leave the battery on so it doesn't do that thing that I hate. And we'll go to the outside view. So there you have it. Granted, a little bit of technical issues with the sim today. It seems like any given day that you decide to do something in this sim, it could either behave itself or it could be your worst enemy. And while it's not that critical if we're just flying, for someone like myself and all of the countless other YouTubers out there that like to make content to show off this sim, yeah, it makes our lives a living hell trying to get the best possible content for you, and especially VR related content, because there have been a great number of people that have joined the VR community over the last year. And thank you to all of you. Welcome to all of you. Just be aware, yes, it is sometimes a lot of work, but a lot of it is out of your control. When you have a sim that changes, you know, any given week at this point, yeah, there's only so much you can do. So try to get your settings the way that you would like to have them. And once you actually have them set, here's the most important part and the most important tip that I can give you. Leave it alone. I'm not kidding. I see far too many people online, far too many people that are polling the community to try and find the best settings, and once they dial it in and they make a post saying, oh, my settings are great, I'm going to just change one more thing, and everything goes to hell. Leave it alone. If you find something that works for you, leave it alone. There's too many moving parts involved, and especially with this sim in particular. DCS is a whole other ball game, same for X-Plane and so on and so forth. But this sim in particular, leave it alone once you got it set. All right, that's me off of my soapbox. Thank you as always for watching. This has been BelGeode. I've been flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We've been showing off the IniBuilds Curtiss P-40F Warhawk. And if you enjoy what you've seen, please feel free to give me a like, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll get ourselves in a position where we can see the lovely SC Designs F-16, because that too has gotten some updates, so be sure to check that out if you have that one. Other than that, I will talk to you all really soon. Thanks for watching, folks. Ciao.